You'll make this rather snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.
Good evening. Welcome into Greeny Sports Cards Live. My name is Jeremy Levine, and if I'm on your screen, that means it must be Tuesday evening here on the East Coast at 7 p.m. And I will be here for the next hour with you live, along with a cast of characters, as we do every Tuesday night at 7. We bring you the latest in hobby news, the latest events across the country, and interesting stories and people, and just try to have a little bit of fun with the hobby here on Tuesday nights with Greeny Sports Cards. And very excited to be with you this evening. We have another jam-packed show, as we do every week, with a couple of guests. We've got some hobby news. We've got the man himself, Greeny, coming in here shortly. And what we'll do, we'll give you the quick rundown of what you can expect on the show this evening. We, of course, are live on the multi-stream platform. You may be watching on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, Twitter, the X, as it were, and a couple other platforms in between. You can comment on the show on your feed, and we will see that, and we will integrate you into the show. And we welcome your comments and your commentary. If you have any questions for our guests, if you have any questions for us, please join the show. And then we broadcast, we relive the show, if you will, from 10 p.m. on YouTube, of course, on Sports Cards Nonsense Network and Greeny Sports Cards YouTube channel. So let's go ahead and jump into the rundown, and then we'll go ahead and welcome in Steve Greenberg, aka Greeny. Here's what you can expect on tonight's show. We will get into a new production, a new broadcast, courtesy of Greeny Sports Cards. Let you know about that if you are into the premier players and teams in women's basketball. We'll talk about that. We will get into hobby news with Joe Wismierski out of Phoenix Sports Cards. We're going coast to coast this evening. Joe in Phoenix, Greeny and I here in the Cleveland area. And we're going to head out to Virginia, the Virginia area, Richmond, to talk to Duke Dodson from Graybo Sports Cards. And we'll also talk with Russell Savage of 757 Card Shows for the Virginia Beach Fieldhouse show. That'll be coming up. And of course, Card Show Live, we'll get into a bunch of other shows that happen. Greeny will give you his take on the National that took place in Nashville this past weekend. And we'll get into it. So again, another jam-packed show. Thank you for joining us here on Greeny Sports Cards Live, as we do every Tuesday. So with that, let's go ahead and say good evening to Steve Greenberg, aka Greeny. What's going on?
Happy NBA opening night, Jeremy. I was a little disappointed that you didn't open the show with John Tesh.
Yeah, well, you know, even though we've been doing this almost 2 years, Greeny, it is a bit of an upstart program. I'm trying not to get us sued.
That's sure, fair enough. But the NBA returns to NBC for the first time in, I don't know how long, maybe as long as Topps hasn't had basketball cards. So maybe they're both returning in the year for the same reason, 24 according to Haley, with I can see her hands below the screen. So 24 years, I guess, that the NBA has been on NBC. And if you've watched it, you know the John Tesh instrumental that I'm talking about.
It is iconic, and apparently we're going to hear it again. So very cool stuff. Green, before we get into it, hot and heavy in the collectible space, lots of shows to go over this week. Lots of people to talk to, lots of hobby news. And we want to let everybody know about a really exciting project that Greeny Sports Card has been involved in. And that is the preseason prep with KK Bransford. KK has been on this show. She is a two-time Miss Ohio basketball, now playing for Notre Dame in what is her junior season. She's got 2 seasons left of eligibility. And KK talks to the top teams in the country. She gets the top players in the country, top teams, and sits down for a conversation. There are 10 episodes that will be airing before the season. So she's already talked to, Duke, North Carolina, Maryland has been on the docket, and Oklahoma is coming up. So very cool stuff. What can you tell us about Sidelines Chats with KK?
Yeah, really cool. And I understand, it may not sound like collectibles, but we did a card with KK Bransford a couple years ago, and some of these girls that she's talking to are from the top 10 teams in the nation, and these girls have, whether they're McDonald's All-American cards or they're going to be, in sets. So it's really cool. She's getting to learn her skills in, broadcasting, things that could happen beyond basketball. And just to hear some of the stories that these girls tell and what their practice schedules are like, and how different coaches at different schools do different things. And, we would hear them talking behind the scenes before they go on, and KK saying, you guys practice at night, right? Like, so there's so many different things that happen at different schools, and it's all to prepare them for this long grind of a season. And who knows how the season will end up, but some of these episodes would be great to re-air back towards the end of the season and see if a lot of these things came to fruition.
Yeah, for sure. I think one of the really interesting things, Greeny, is the camaraderie between these players. They are fierce competitors. You're talking about Division I basketball, the cream of the crop, the best players in the country, but there's a mutual respect and the camaraderie of them getting to talk about it. And then when they step on the court, and a number of these teams will be playing each other, Notre Dame against some of the other ACC schools and the teams she's talking to, and certainly tournament time, they'll compete really hard. But you do really get a glimpse behind the scenes of what it's like to be a D1 collegiate athlete. Cool stuff.
Yeah, very cool. And, we're glad to be a part of that. And, while it is definitely something different, it still focuses on some things, sports, and it will have some eventually NIL impact.
For sure. And personal connection there too. Haley, who helps produce this show, is producer and editor on that show as well. So our thanks to Haley. Our thanks to KK Bransford. Make sure you check her out. Go find KK on Instagram. You can find it on Sideline Chats with KK. Really cool insight from the world of collegiate athletes. So Green, before we jump into hobby news, we do want to thank one of our sponsors, Giannino's, and let them tell it to you themselves.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. I'm a year older now, so Mommy can give me Giannino's pizza. Hey, whoever thought of making a great tasting Giannino's pizza with all these fresh ingredients? They gotta be some kind of genius. More, Mommy.
Every Giannino's pizza is made with fresh dough, delicious tomato sauce without additives or preservatives, and fresh provolone cheese shredded daily. For a location near you, go to Gianninos.com.
You want a piece of me?
I do, and I did earlier.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Not just pizza, wings, sub sandwiches, salads, tremendous salads. So our thanks to Giannino's in partnership, and of course Collectibles on SI and Sports Cards Nonsense. And we'll let you know about a number of other sponsors that help support this endeavor that we get to do every week throughout the show. So with that, Greeny, let's go ahead and I'm going to audible and actually combined 2 segments today. Typically we get into Today I Learned But today I want to learn, and I have questions about the hobby, and who better to help us navigate that than our resident hobby expert, Joe Wismirski, all the way from Phoenix Sports Cards. We'll go ahead and welcome in Joe as we go coast to coast this evening. We'll head out to Virginia later, but good evening, Joe, out in the desert.
Good evening. We have a little bit of a cold front in. It's about 78 degrees, a little chilly. So thanks for having me. New setup to this week. Hopefully the sound's good and video's good for you. I see a lot of face on the camera here. So.
Well, we can hear you. You kind of move a little bit, but the internet's a wacky thing, Joe. But we have you.
Yeah. We've got you in, it's almost scarf weather for you out there in the desert, Joe. Before we get into news, I've mentioned to Greeny, typically we might do it today. I learned, share some knowledge. I'd like for you to drop some knowledge on us, Joe, because as somebody who is, I would characterize as hobby adjacent, I'm not immersed in this every day. We are doing the shows. We do this show every week. I'm interested to learn. And I'm confused about this issue. And if I'm confused, there are collectors out there and people getting into the hobby that have no idea this stuff is going on. Let's talk a little bit about licenses, the transition of license, where they've been, who has the license, because we understand it from a production standpoint. There are, when you own a license or have been granted a license, there are things you can do that involve name, image, and likeness. The rights to use photographs and uniforms, and having a license may give you and does give you access into areas of games and teams that you would not have otherwise. Joe, take us through where these licenses were in the hobby world, the transition that's happening now, and perhaps what that means moving forward.
Yeah, so Jeremy, what it comes down to is there's two major licenses that they're looking for, and by that I mean Fanatics and the other companies in the trading card space. So they're looking for the league license, and then they're also looking for the player association license. So Fanatics has just completely taken over the league and player association effective October 1st for the NBA. They're able to produce a product that and the actual logos of the players for the teams that they represent, as well as the background. So you can see, if it's from a specific game, those type of things, because non-licensed products that you've seen in the past, they may look like futuristic backgrounds, or you see a lot of chrome stuff. So like Cosmic Chrome that gave that space look. So not having the NBA license, not only, but it's actually the background and the photo art from the games.
Maybe we have a little technical difficulty. Maybe not. Maybe you're back, Joe.
I'm here.
There you are.
Yeah. And we have a big launch this week. We do have a big launch. Topps, they did take over basketball. Flagship basketball comes out this week, Jeremy. It's huge. Absolutely huge.
So, Joe, I saw Topps Fanatics page put out the flagship card of Cooper Flag with the 101, or it says the first card or my first card, whatever it says, but it's the 101. Where's that going to be pulled? And I know you don't know that, and it's very rhetorical. Like, is that somebody going to actually hit that, or is a breaker going to hit that?
I think it might be in a value box. It could be in a hanger box. That's typically where you're going to see something like that. You're going to see it in one of those boxes, which is going to give someone a thrill of a lifetime, right? You could be at one of the big box stores, a Walmart or a Target, and just walk it in there. A kid could just pull it off a display case and have that card. So that'll be absolutely fun. But Topps is really serious about the launch of this and doing it the right way. And so they've made sure, like at the hobby stores, like we have all different kinds of things to give away. They gave us these breaking mats that are pretty cool, that have the entire court. It's exciting. It's really exciting to have the license back. It's also exciting for the collectors too. I know we've talked about this before, but having a product where you have a star or a potential star like Cooper Flag, that is going to have his McDonald's All-American, his Bowman first, under first time in a while, is very exciting for the basketball products.
Very cool. And I know, so do they play tonight or tomorrow? I don't know. But when he does, look for that.
So it starts tonight.
No, I know. But do the Mavericks play? Do they play tonight? I don't know.
I don't believe so. I think it's just 2 games tonight.
Yeah. So what I was getting at was watch for Cooper Flagg in that NBA debut patch. You'll see that on his jersey, and that will make it into a card. I don't know which card, but it'll obviously be a Topps product. So maybe Chrome, right? Who knows? Or whatever their high end product's going to be. But that'll, or maybe it's Series 2 Topps, right? Is there going to be a Series 2? Do we even know? We have any idea what they're doing?
Not yet. I mean, we just finished actually their last product that just came out most recently was NBA Royalty, which was a 23-24 product. So I'm sure everyone's excited for a fresh start and to get everything rocking and rolling. But then you're also going to have some people that are a little upset because you're not going to have licensed downtowns, kabooms, those type of things. So be on the lookout for some new innovative type case hits for Topps to keep it rolling. But this product is so important to the hobby, and it's important to Topps and Fanatics. I mean, we're talking a 62-page checklist. Veteran autos, rookie autos, all sorts of inserts. I'm not trying to hype it up, but I'm super excited for what's going to come out of this product for sure.
So we're talking first LeBron Lakers autographs. Have you seen anything? Is there going to be a LeBron Heat auto, a LeBron Cavs auto? Do we know that yet?
I check the checklist specific player, but I know that you're going to have the opportunity for Steph Curry, for LeBron, I think Magic, Bird, Shaquille O'Neal, like a ton of great Hall of Famers, coupled with you're going to have the first licensed autos for Wemby. And right. Wemby's got a ton of hype rolling in. You're going to have Stephen Castle. You're going to have Alexander Sarr, Zachary Richichet. You're going to have these guys that have gone through the process of having a rookie card that has not been licensed. And now the collectors have a chance for that. It's going to be a second, third-year card. But, I mean, who's to say where it's going to land with those cards? I mean, this is a third-year Wemby card. And it might be one of the most expensive ones that he has.
Yeah. Listen, I don't open very many, but I'm going to buy a box and open it because I think it's going to be cool. It's going to be fun.
Now, Steve, there's a couple of different boxes. Are you going to go for a jumbo, a hobby, a mega box?
Probably just I'm just going to do a hobby. I think those are supposed to be in the $200 range from what I'm seeing online. So I'll probably just open a regular Topps box.
Yeah, and that releases this Thursday, Steve.
It does. People are lined up. I mean, it's like Pokemon, right? They're lined up, camping out, waiting to get into these different.
Steve, I have to share. I have to share a story with you, Steve.
Please.
So out here, Fry's is a local grocery store chain out here on the west. They have Pokemon vending machines. Now, they're not a third party, it's actual Pokemon, right? So people go to these machines, they have the so it looks like everything's sold out. You kind of have to check at random times. I went in for the first time. I followed a person just had walked out, made a purchase. I went up, checked it, and then you have to wait for the machine to reset. This guy walks in with 2 kids, touches the machine so it doesn't reset. I see him walk over to a Fry's employee, ask me how long I've been here. I said, well, about 5 minutes now. I'm waiting for it to reset. He says to the lady, he goes, 5 minutes? That sounds a little bit like loitering. And I see the sign up there that says no loitering. And I said, buddy, you're doing the same thing I'm doing. He's like, but I'm going shopping. I said, but you're not. You're standing right here. And I didn't even get a chance. I said, I'm only here for 5 minutes because your child touched the screen again and we have to wait for it to reset. It was wild. Like literally it was chaos. I could not believe that someone had then gone to, and the woman who was sweet, she was like, that's it says no loitering on the machine. That's not a Fry's rule. It was like, you can come over here and take a picture. I've only been here for 5 minutes. There's a camera on the machine, Steve. It's so wild. So if you don't think it's real, it's real. And it's happening in my backyard. So
catch them all, Joe. Catch them all.
I'll try.
Yeah.
Very Joe, good. Where can people find you tomorrow and throughout the week?
Hey, you can find me on YouTube at 5 p.m. Pacific time, p.m. Eastern time. Cut the Nonsense on the Sports Cards Nonsense Network on YouTube. It's also available wherever you can find your podcast. So Apple, Spotify, it's there. But you can find me Tuesday through Friday at Phoenix Sports Cards, 59th and Thunderbird, Glendale, Arizona, at phxsportscards.com.
Fantastic. Good stuff as always, Joe. We appreciate it. Can't wait to watch. I saw some previews, some hot takes you have on Cut the Nonsense. So we'll be sure to catch that out tomorrow at 8 p.m. Wednesday.
Thank you, guys.
See you,
Thanks, Joe. All right. Today I learned a little bit about licensing. Very cool. Our thanks to Joe Wismierski, Phoenix Sports Cards, for joining us. Of course, Cut the Nonsense along with Gio and Danny Black. Danny's the editor of Collectibles on SI, our presenting sponsor. Make sure you get over to SI.com Collectibles and see the latest in hobby news and information and just tremendous stories. They've got great stories about the hobby. If you want to learn more, head over to SI.com/collectibles, part of the Sports Illustrated family.
Yeah, good stuff. They have articles that come out all the time, and it's obviously about news that relates to the hobby. Danny shares a lot of stuff, and I think they have a dozen or so different writers, so they're always popping up new articles and latest trends and latest notes, hobby release stuff. So real cool to keep a tabs on that.
All right, we're going to keep it moving. A couple of guests to get to tonight. Duke Dodson from Graybos will be up in a little bit. We're going to get to talk to Russell Savage from 757 Card Shows. And with that, brings us to Card Show Live.
Yeah, welcome to this edition of Card Show Live. And again, Jeremy, another week and no shortage of shows. We just got back from a 900 table plus show, probably close to 1,000 in Nashville. And it was wall to wall. Great vibe all weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, people in and out. Ran into Mike Gio at Sports Cards Nonsense and Alex, the Clever Cuban. So, I mean, a lot of things went down, buying and selling. And here we are again on Tuesday night talking about what's going to happen this week and next. So a little bit of things coming up. We have our show, the Greeny Show, the TC Greeny Pokemon TCG only show this Saturday in Broadview Heights. So we have 100 sold out tables of nothing but the best Pokemon TCG. There's going to be Lorcana, some Magic will be there, and all parts in between. But I mean, we've been doing this now. I think this is our third, and it just keeps growing and growing. I mean, we've been getting calls, for the last couple of weeks, that the ads are playing on the radio. Well over 1,000 people have attended each show. So, who knows what's going to be this weekend. So this Saturday, October 25th, the TC Greeny Show at Broadview Heights. Everything's on our website, greenysportscards.com, the card show tab. So we look forward to seeing you there. And let's take you a little bit around the country and tell you a little bit what's happening. There's a show in Bloomington, Illinois. When I first saw it, I was like, oh, Bloomington, Indiana, but it's not. It's in Illinois, Jeremy. So Bloomington, Illinois, but it's nevertheless still 200 tables The 24th and 25th at the Interstate Center. Dave Marvin has this show. I mean, I looked and, they have autographed guests, tons of different tables. I mean, it looks to be that they've done this show several times. So, just another show that we've talked about, 200 tables, 100 tables, 300 tables, these big gatherings of card shows are happening everywhere. So if you're in anywhere in that range, Bloomington, Illinois, make sure you check that out. Like we told you here, Northeast Ohio does have quite a bit of shows. There is a new one that's popping up. And one of the reasons I want to talk about it, it's the Lake Erie Card Convention at Lake Erie College. And this benefits our friend, Coach Kyle Conley, and his men's basketball team. So proceeds from the door and the table sales. And this is not a Division I team that gets a lot of money. They're Division III, and there's things like this that can help programs. So, we wish them the best at this show. Coach Kyle, Justin, who's running this show, and there'll be some good traffic. They'll bring in some stuff, and hopefully benefit that team. We're happy to help Coach Kyle the last couple of years. So, if you're in the area, that's a Saturday, Sunday show. So, maybe pop into the TC Greeny show and then head out there and check out the Lake Erie Card Convention or even on Sunday. So, and then we're going to shift a little bit and not talk about a show this week, but we're going to bring in our guest, Russell, and we're going to talk a little bit about a show in Virginia Beach. And you want to talk about a destination city, Jeremy. Not only is there card shows, I'm sure you can tell us a little bit. I remember going there to Virginia Beach as a kid with my parents, and my parents always tell me that's where I fell in love with crab legs. And I guess I ate a ton of them back then in the day, but there will be a time again where I go back to Virginia Beach, and I want to make sure that we go and check out Russell's show. So let's bring him in. Let's talk about this show and kind of what he has going on down there.
Yeah, Russell Savage is the founder and promoter behind 757 Card Shows, the premier sports card and collectible event series in Virginia Beach. He's a lifelong collector with deep ties to the Tidewater community. He launched 757 Card Shows after the pandemic and has grown from a modest 40-table event to a regional powerhouse with monthly shows and flagship quarterly events at the Virginia Beach Fieldhouse. So it is our distinct pleasure to welcome Russell Savage.
Hey, fellas, I sure appreciate you having me on today.
Hey, man, we appreciate you taking some time and joining us and giving us a little bit of insight on, this show and then how you got to this show. So let's start there with, you have a show next week in Virginia Beach, and tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so November 1st and 2nd, we host a show. It's a 300 if counting our autograph guests, it's right around 350 tables. We're the largest non-mall show that doesn't charge admission, so we're very family-friendly show. We've developed our show into more of a collectible show, so we really made a conscious decision to make sure half of it's sports cards and then half of it's non-sports cards. So that includes Pokemon, comic books, toys, that type of stuff. So, what, like Jeremy had said, it started from we took over a monthly 40-table show, and this November show at the Fieldhouse will be our 4th year at the Virginia Beach Fieldhouse. So it grew quick, but it grew organically. We're very close to the community. We host a trade night the night before our Virginia Beach Fieldhouse show, where a lot of people come together. They buy, sell, and trade amongst each other at the Fieldhouse. We feed the people. So I don't know if there's another show out there that's free admission, and then the night before is doing a trade night with free food. So we're very, very conscious about giving back to the community and being a part of the community too, because it's sports card community, it's a Pokemon community, it's a comic book community. So
that's right.
I feel like we've done a good job of immersing ourselves into it, and it shows with the vendors that we've got and then the amount of people that are walking through the door.
Russell, we're fortunate to get the chance to talk to influencers and promoters from all across the country. And I'm always curious to ask, particularly in this case, in the Virginia area, the hobby has exploded, particularly over the last 4 or 5 years since COVID. What is the vibe in Virginia itself? We're going to get to talk to Duke Dodson here out of Richmond, and you're in Virginia Beach. What are Virginia collectors looking for? What are they chasing? And what is the general vibe of that area?
Well, this area in particular, I mean, as you can tell a little bit behind me, Norfolk, which is right next door to Virginia Beach, is the AAA team for the Orioles. And grew up in Maryland, so I'm a lifelong Orioles fan myself. So a lot of Orioles collectors down here, a lot of Washington Nationals collectors, Washington Commanders or Redskins, big time around here. And then also you still have a lot of Mets collectors around here, because up until the Orioles came in, I think it was 12, 13 years ago, Norfolk was the AAA team for the Mets for 30 plus years. So that's on the sports side of it. Now, this has really grown into a mass collectibles area, just because here we are in Norfolk, Virginia Beach, where you've got two of the largest naval installations in the world. We got the Master Jet Base in Virginia Beach, and then Norfolk's got the largest Navy base in the world. So it's a great conglomerate of different types of people who are here just collecting sports cards, Pokemon, comic books. And again, I think it's just a great community in this area, because we're all trying to help each other. On the Pokemon side, got to catch them all. So, it really is a great community around here.
So, yeah. So take us back to when it started. You started doing shows, but before that, you grew up as a collector, right? And
yeah, I grew up as a collector. My first show that I vended at, I was 12 years old. So through that till about 16, 17, mom was dropping me off and then picking me up at 3:00 to go home. And then I kind of stopped collecting, vending, in the college years. And then, those poor years right after college, where you're never poor right after college. And then 2002 or 3, I moved to Virginia Beach from where I went to college in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, and just got the bug again. So really got back into collecting, and then vended probably again starting 2008 or so. And then coming up on 5 years, my partner and I, Phil, we took over a somehow dying show during COVID. I don't know how a show starts to die during COVID, but we took over and we probably advertised more on our first show than the previous promoter did the 5-6 years going up. And again, we kept it free admission no matter how big the show got. Our monthly show, that was a 40 table show, it went to capacity at 100 tables, and then we found the Virginia Beach Field House, and that's now up to 350 tables, and have still kept that a free admission show. And our table costs are very reasonable, even considering that we don't charge admission. So
that's very interesting. I'm sure people love that. Tell us about the table pricing. How do you keep that affordable? And the repeat customers, right? Are you still able to get new people in?
We try and get as many new people as we can in. I mean, we're even with 325 to 50 tables at the field house, and I've got a long waiting list even with that. We try and rotate as many new people. We started a show at a casino not too long ago to get another venue to, and that's right out under 100 tables. Our first one was just a month ago, and that was a great success. So we're going to keep going back there. And it's really hard when you've got, you could fill another show with your waiting list, but keeping your regulars happy because they're regular, because they're going to be there every month, and getting an influx of new vendors. But as far the collectors, they're always coming out. We bring in autograph guests. As far as sports comic book.
Who do you have coming this time?
So on the sports side, we've got Jack Clark, Tony Armas, Gary Lavelle, Jesse Campbell, and then Rhino, who's a wrestler for ECW, WWE. Sam Allen, who local guy. We actually name our autograph alley after Sam. Sam's one of probably a couple dozen Negro League players still alive, and we're lucky to have him right down the street, and super lucky to have him. I can call him a friend, because there's not a lot. They're living history, and to get him tell stories. I've heard him tell stories about Willie Mays, Satchel Paige. That it's amazing. You're like thinking, man, I'm one step away from a Willie Mays or a Satchel Paige.
Yeah, to talk to Sam and somebody like that, those stories are almost worth as much as the autograph. I mean, the things that they saw, the games that they played in, that's I'm sure people line up for him.
And every time, and he's there every time. When he's in town, he's now a very busy guy. Because he's being honored here and there, and a couple years ago, we actually surprised him by naming our autograph alley after him. But the fun part is when former Major League Ball players, former NFL players, they want to meet him when they're there. So, and just to hear them chit chat and talk about, because we had Dennis Oil Can Boyd, and at the show we've had him there a couple times. Well, both Dennis's father and uncle played with Sam or against him in the Negro Leagues. So, hearing stories like that, I mean, it's even though the price of admission is free, it's worth it. So just to be flies on that wall is great.
Very cool stuff. Russell, for somebody who hasn't been to your show before, you talked a little bit about trade night. You can come out and get some food.
Yep.
Take us through the visual of how you lay out a show, what somebody can experience, and maybe some best practices for going into that venue.
So you talk about layout. So we try and keep our sports people together, our comic people together, and our Pokemon people together. Kind of that way, it's not a mix and match, and you got to hunt and peck to find what you're collecting. So it's pretty easy. You come into the show and you step right in. This is sports cards, and then to the left, or you keep on with your sports cards, and then right to your right are your comics and toys, and then surrounding all that is your Pokemon. So navigating the layout is pretty easy. Once you're in there once or twice, everybody kind of knows where to go. And for the most part, the regulars are in their regular spot each time. So once you're there once, twice, three times, you kind of get an idea where to go. And funny enough, at trade night, it totally organically happened is, the Pokemon people kind of pick their side and the sports guys kind of pick their side. And we never designated that's where this is. It just started really organically, and it stayed true since. So
it's like a high school dance. Everybody just finds their side of the building.
It was really, because the first trade night we had, we're like, well, do we kind of designate these as like a Pokemon area or a trade card area or a sporting card area? And we didn't, and then it just organically happened. And those same 3 or 4 tables for the Pokemon, and then same 3 or 4 for the sports cards, and then there's a little bit of mix in the middle. It stayed true since the first one, and again, that organically happened, which was great. We didn't have to force it on anybody, and everybody kind of knows if this is what I got, this is where I go.
What is kind of your vision for the show? Like, where do you see this going?
Well, vision wise, I don't know if I want it to get any bigger. If we go to a bigger venue, then I've got a full-time job, so, and my partner does too. So if it gets bigger, it's not going to be on our watch. Only thing we can do is to make sure it gets better. So with that is making sure it stays free, bringing in the type of guests that are affordable, be it on the sports card side, the Pokemon side. And, we want to, we've got JSA there who comes in and authenticates autographs. CGC was there to take grading submissions for comics, Pokemon, sports cards. So, maybe adding a couple of things like that to make it better. I don't necessarily think bigger is better. I think the 350 or so that we're at the field house is super manageable for us. I think it's not intimidating for the families coming in because it gets a little overwhelming sometimes. I didn't know if, when we went, because we actually moved, we're still at the field house, but we went from being on an indoor soccer turf to taking over all the basketball courts. So that went from about 230 tables to the 350 plus. And I think, it gets bigger than that, then it's no longer a community event, And we get a lot of we get a lot of vendors calling from out of town to want to come in, but to me, it's still a local show. I don't mind people driving in from Delaware, Maryland to come to the show,
right?
But it's still a local show to us, and
I really get by when people look, whether you have that listed on Beckett Online or the Show Locator or some of the others, the buyers are out there and they're looking and they're seeing 350 table shows, 250, and they're going to come. So and I get that, keeping it local community and you have a lot of the vendors there, but I'm sure they do love seeing a lot of the buyers that do come from out of town.
Oh, they do. I mean, we've got the repackers that are coming in. We got those big buyers coming in, on the East Coast. I think for a little while, we were probably the best kept secret out there. I think it's no longer a secret as far as with the big buyers coming in. So, so that's a picture of us when we're on the indoor soccer field, which is weird. Everybody loves it because you're at your feet is right. Turf.
I have a love-hate relationship with those. I love it because of my feet. It's not easy to drag your dolly.
Correct.
And your cards in
and out. But at the end of the day, your back and feet feel better. Yeah.
You are. Yeah. I've done a couple shows on turf, and again, love standing on it, hate setting up and tearing it down.
Yeah.
But turf, I get it. And there's a lot of
and imagine us, because and this would segue back to another question that you had is how do we keep it free and keep it table costs low. It's me and my partner Phil and some of our vendor buddies that we're the ones slugging all the tables, slugging all the chairs. We're doing all the setup. We don't, not that we can't afford to do it, but then it gets into a different, then we got to charge admission. Then we got to, charge more. But, a lot of the vendors, they're more than happy to help us. Because, again, we've made it a community. And even after the 2-day show where everybody's like, oh, God, I'm so tired. They said they're going to help us. They're there to help us. And then we even get more volunteers for people to help us because, they see us, sweating, doing this stuff. And they're like, we're really doing something for that, that collecting community.
Yeah. Listen, we love what you're doing. We see it. I see the pictures all the time. I see some of the things, maybe Jeremy and I talk all the time. All right, we're going to hit this show. There will be a point in time we will get down to Virginia Beach, the nice weather. And
hey, I'll let you all in for free. No.
Well, we appreciate
it. As I say with some of the autograph guests that we bring in, hey, there's worse places to be than Virginia Beach, in May or August. So it goes for you all too. So.
Yeah.
Russell, you said something really interesting about community because what we found is there's the massive shows, the National Sports Collectors Convention, your Fanatics Fest, and these are giant
last weekend.
But the successful local regional shows are really community efforts, and so the days of a promoter putting an ad in a newspaper and people show up and buy and sell cards, that doesn't exist anymore. And the most successful shows have buy-in and support from all the vendors and stakeholders, and it's their responsibility as well to help tell people where you are and tell them where you're going to be this weekend. And we're going to be at this show, and come see us in this section or this aisle. And so as promoters, we can do everything possible to try and promote it through the platforms available. But the really strong shows have that vendor support, that get it that they have to take some ownership too. And when everybody builds that community, you get something special.
Oh yeah, and it could be as simple as, we create a Facebook event page and then just sharing the flyer. And that goes a long way. We have a vendor Facebook page, like probably a lot of promoters do, and I always tell them that our money is only going to take it so far. It needs organic growth, and by them sharing it with their friends and then their friends sharing it, that's how it grows. So, I can do as much advertising as I want. I can go to all the shops, chop off flyers, go to the Navy bases, chop off flyers. But, you nailed it on the head, where it is everybody's kind of responsibility to get the word out.
Yeah, no question. I love you just mentioned again the Navy base. I think that's got to be so cool that a lot of those guys that do collect cards in any of the armed forces, and they come from all walks of life, all places in the country, and they're buying cards of guys from Montana, where they're from, or from Wyoming. I mean, that's got to be just as good as the large buyers come in, because these guys are
because it expands, where, let's say, you got a whole bunch of Milwaukee Brewers, and nothing is Milwaukee Brewers, but in Norfolk or Virginia Beach, if there weren't a Navy base, there wouldn't be a lot of people looking for that stuff. But there's probably half dozen guys that are from Milwaukee who are in the Navy, and no Pat Tillman card ever goes unsold at one of our shows. So
I can only imagine. And that's got to be really cool. Before we let you go, though, just tell everybody what the website is, where on Facebook or social media everybody can find this show.
Yeah, so we make it simple. So everything, so our website, our social media, YouTube, it's 757 Card Shows. So just www.757 Card Shows, and then at 757 Card Shows, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. So those are the easiest ways to find us.
Very cool, Russell. Listen, we appreciate your time.
I appreciate you all inviting me.
No, very, very cool. Great success at the show. Let's catch up after and get some recaps on how things are going.
Yes, let's do it.
Cool.
Thanks, fellas.
Very good. Yep. Thank you very much.
Our thanks to Russell Savage, 757 Card Shows out in Virginia Beach. We were going to talk to Graybos this evening. Very excited to talk to them about what they're doing. Duke Dodson got hung up a little bit. So as it is with a live show, we will reset that at some point and get to talk to them about what they're doing. In the meantime, Greeny, I want to tell everybody about Sport Card Auctions, our friends there with the auctions and consignment. If you're looking to turn your sports card collection into serious cash, at Sport Card Auctions, they make it simple. They've got professional authentication, grading, and auction services. You just ship their cards to them. They will handle everything for you. Their expert team handles the photography to listing to grading to shipping. They've got over 15 years of experience and a 99% customer satisfaction rating. There are not too many businesses out there that can lay that claim. So whether it's vintage or modern, maximize your return with competitive consignment rates and professional service. Get started today consigning at sportcardauctions.com.
So when I was in Nashville, and I just sent Haley a picture, hopefully she'll get it on her phone to pull it up. There was a really cool card there. There was a lot of cool cards there, but one really struck me, and coincidentally, Matt Cook from Underdog had it on his table. there's a Shohei Ohtani card, and perfect timing to have a card like that. It was a 101, it's a superfractor, and it was inscribed 2024 World Series champ. And this was before his huge game 3 home run. I think it was game 3, right? That he hit 3 home runs and struck out 12 batters.
Strikeouts. Yeah.
And we always talk about, cards getting hot and cold depending on players' performance. I mean, it's no secret that this guy is the modern day Babe Ruth, right? I mean, he is the best player that we have ever and probably will ever see play baseball in our lifetime. And you think his cards are as high as they could ever be. And then he goes and has that kind of performance in a playoff game, and they can only get higher. I don't know if we have a chance to see the card, but he had it priced at $250,000 on his table. And who's to say what it's worth, right? It is truly a one of a kind Ohtani autograph and inscription. And likely he's going to add another World Series title, to his resume, probably another MVP to his resume, right? There it is. Pretty cool. Yeah, really cool.
Yeah, just an all-time game, an all-time performance. And at some point, Greeny, does a performance like that and his continual play price people out of the market? At some point,
it prices the average person, sure, of course, right? Doesn't price Kevin O'Leary out of anything, but the average collector that wants an Ohtani autograph right now, you're not going to get it for in the hundreds of dollars, right? It's in the high thousands of what you're going to get an Ohtani autograph for. So I think we may have Duke, Jeremy.
I think we might have him. We'll give it a second here, reset it. Before we bring in Duke, we'll let him get kind of situated. Let's talk about a new card shop that both you and I had a chance to pop in before its official grand opening this Saturday. Let everybody know where you just were.
Yeah, Bomber Breaks here locally in Broadview Heights. Our friend Chris Boehm and his partners they've been breaking for a long time, and I've known Chris for a long time. We've had him on our show before. Does a great Harry Carey impression, but they've finally done it and built a brick and mortar store. They have their grand opening this Saturday, October 25th. Coincidentally, it's 5 minutes away from our Broadview Heights Pokemon show, and they're a sports card shop. So perfect. Come to the Pokemon show, then pop over and see those guys at Bomber Breaks. Larry Nance will be there at 1:00, and very cool things that they're having going on there. They've built a nice place, and we look forward to growing together with them and doing a little working together with the Broadview Heights show and Bomber Breaks, since they're so close. So very cool things happening.
So congratulations to them on their soon to be ribbon cutting officially, and head over to Bomber Breaks. We're going to go ahead and welcome in Duke Dodson, who is the co-founder and CEO of Graybo's Sports Card, a fast-rising hobby shop and lifestyle brand based in Richmond, Virginia. Duke is a lifelong collector who rediscovered his passion for the hobby in 2021, launching Graybo's in 2023 alongside his partners. And it's really cool. He brings an entrepreneurial savvy and nostalgic flair to the shop, blending card collecting, live breaks, and even a connected sports bar, which is really cool and a one-of-a-kind concept. So let's go ahead and welcome in Duke Dodson.
Hey, guys. I really apologize. I had a heck of a time getting on, but I'm so glad to be with you guys now. How are you guys doing?
Good, man. We appreciate it. Yeah, we get it, man. The internet's kind of a goofy thing no matter where you are. So at least we have you on, and wanted to kind of go over the uniqueness of what you guys have created down there in Richmond with, combining, two of the things that people love best, right?
Certainly
bars and sports.
Two of the things that I love the best. Yeah, no, it's been a really fun ride. Graybo's is about 2.5 years old now. And, the sports bar's in full swing and the card shop's in full swing. And it's really fun to see it all come to life.
Yeah, I noticed a few things by watching. I see that this is, I think, your opening night video. You had the mayor in there, but it, the great thing is, people can do that. They can go in and watch a game. They can grab a box of cards. I know you guys do. I don't know if it's weekly, but you have a podcast there as well. The Giblets, I think, is that what you call it? And
Graybo's Giblets, yeah, Graybo's
yeah,
Giblets.
so it's you kind of have a little bit of everything going on that anybody can come and just hang out and do whatever they want, sports related, right?
Yeah, I mean that was the idea when Gray and Fitz and I. Gray is my brother-in-law and partner. Fitz is our mutual friend and partner. And when we kind of dreamed it up, we thought like, hey, how can we create the best sports card shop in the world? And as the idea evolved, we had this idea of some kind of like event space in the back, somewhere where you could like host like a watch party, a fantasy football draft, something like that, and celebrate all things sports and sports cards. And as the idea emerged, it kind of grew from an event space to a full blown sports bar. That's Parlay there you're looking at now, and it's a really fun place to watch a game. We try to create the best environment to watch any kind of sporting event, and it's really cool. Like when it's at its best, it's when we have like a trade night or some kind of big game or something when both sides are full and people are going back and forth. You see somebody maybe buying a box of cards, taking it next door and ripping it with their father or son and having a beer, or the flip side, somebody goes and grabs a beer, brings it over to Graybo's and sorts through value boxes. And when you see the two things come to life, it kind of celebrates all the things that I love for sure.
Very cool. Duke, take us back 5 years or so. Was there a singular moment or an event that reignited this passion for you, or what happened that you decided this was going to be the path?
Yeah, it's a good story. I mean, it started, I guess, as a kid, as you mentioned, massive collector as a kid, and thought I would, like most of us in the 80s and 90s, thought we'd pay our way through college with our sports cards, and that may not have come true. But I kind of, once I got into high school, kind of got out of it a little bit. But I was always had my eye on the industry and the hobby, and I was always interested in it, curious about it. And it was a singular moment. Gray happened to be at my house. Again, I'm married to his sister. It was around the holidays, and I was flicking through the channels, and I saw a show called The Card Life, which you probably have seen before with Matt Strom, and he was traveling Boston, and like he visited a couple of places, including a card shop, and I was like, wait, is this like still a thing? Are people still doing this? And then I just went down the rabbit hole from there. I mean, that's when I was read more about the hobby, discovered Whatnot and breaks, and Gray and I and Fitz started jumping into breaks together on Whatnot. And started discussing like which players we're going to invest in. I love the idea of investing in players that you believe in long term. For me back then, it was Josh Allen and Justin Herbert were the two quarterbacks I invested in heavily back then. And we just really enjoyed being around the hobby. Loved breaks, loved buying and selling cards. And as a kid, my card shop in Roanoke, Virginia, was called the Wax Box. I still think it's the coolest name ever for a card shop. But yeah, I remember how much fun me and my friends had going to the Wax Box. Like one of our moms would drop us off, come back and get us like an hour and a half later, and we just talked with the shop owner, bought, sold, traded, and it was a tiny little store, but to us it was everything. And so I thought it'd be pretty cool to be able to create that experience for others.
When you said you were thinking the event space in the back, you turned it into a full blown bar restaurant. Those are two things, that industry and the card industry. There are definitely parallels because, you have suppliers that you have to adhere to, mm-hmm. and you have rules and regulations. I mean, it's kind of like when you think about it, very parallel between those two industries, right?
Yeah, I would say both of them very public facing. I would say the big difference is that everybody my old business was a property management business when everybody was angry at you all the time. In the restaurant business, you can find some angry people as well. The main difference in sports card shops is everyone's happy. 99 out of 100 people that come to your shop are happy to talk to you. But certainly plenty of parallels. Like it's certainly a lot of stuff coming in the door, getting it out the door, storing it, managing inventory, managing suppliers and vendors. Certainly a lot of parallels there.
You had a vision for what this might be, combining the card shop and the restaurant portion. Has there been something that surprised you along the way that you didn't quite expect, but you realized, wow, that's pretty cool?
I guess like the synergies, we kind of expected, but it's just still really cool when it happens. Like I think we had one trade night, and it happened to be the night of the NFL draft. and you had like a packed shop of 100 people buying, selling, and trading with each other. You had a packed bar because of the draft, and people walking back and forth. That wasn't that surprising, but it was really cool to see. I think what you do see is the people that come into the sports bar and then rediscover the hobby, and some of them dive in full speed, and some are just dabbling in it, and that's fine too. But what I think is cool is like the guy who hasn't been in the hobby for a long time or isn't in it at all, but is a big sports fan. They'll come over and their eyes are drawn to the memorabilia first. They know helmets and jerseys, they know that. But when they turn and see the cards, like what I've found, like the guy that hasn't been in a card shop in 20 years, he almost always buys like $100 to $250 card, one card, and he might not ever come back again, but he'll buy a big Anderson rookie, that's his guy, or he'll buy a modern guy like Shohei or something like that. But that was surprising to me. The guy who's never bought a card in his life, or maybe not in 20 years, will plunk down a pretty good purchase often.
Maybe that's because he had a couple drinks. Who knows? Right?
Could be. It doesn't hurt. It does not hurt, Greeny.
But either way, like they're still doing it like with knowledge. I'm sure they're asking the right questions, and you have people there, pointing in the right direction. I saw the one time you had I think it was VCU. Is it Phil Martelli Jr.? Is he the head coach there?
That's correct.
Yeah, you guys have
Yep.
kind of that vibe in there too, where you have kind of podcasts, right, and things going on all the time at the restaurant.
Yeah, in Richmond, we're a fun sports town, but in Virginia, we don't have any professional sports teams. The biggest ticket in town for us is VCU basketball, which if you live in Wisconsin, you might not follow VCU, but for us, it's a big deal. And so we really love, year one, we got their radio guy, Robbie Robinson, to come on a podcast with us. And then we do a sponsorship of VCU basketball, both Graybos and Parlay. And this year we kind of requested, hey, can we get the coach to show up at least once? Not only did he show up, he came and ripped cards with us in our shop, and then did a podcast at the restaurant next door. And about 50 to 60 VCU fans came out to watch the podcast. And I really thought, this idea is building, and we don't have a lot of celebrities in town in Richmond, but we have some what we consider mini celebrities. But I always thought it'd be really cool if you could walk into the shop or the bar on a random Saturday or Sunday and just not know what you're going to walk into, and happen to stumble into something like a podcast going on, an autograph signing, something like that kind of interactive experience that you can't get anywhere else. I thought that would be really cool if we can build that. And now that we're in year two, I think we're starting to see that start to happen. I'm selfishly, I would love if any sports celebrity comes to town, I would like them to think they have to go to Graybos. They just have to, right? Rip cards, have a beer, something. We don't get a lot of celebrities, but when they do come, I would like to think that we're the stop that they have to make while they're here. Whether you're a professional golfer, an ex-NBA player, whatever, I would like to think that you got to make an appearance at Graybos.
Yeah, we have really embraced the collegiate athletes, with NIL and a lot of women's basketball, but men's basketball with Kent State. They're very close to us, and the coach there who's really into cards. So we get that aspect with him, and it's great being in the college town, and the younger generation, the kids, they look up to these guys. They are their pro athletes. So you get people from Virginia Commonwealth, VCU to come the basketball team, and I know he's not the coach there, but people know who Shaka Smart is, and they know people that went to school there, and those are their celebrities.
Sure. And I grew up in Roanoke, Virginia, which is 40 minutes from Virginia Tech. My dad played football at Virginia Tech. I went to every Tech game for 20 years, and I grew up in college sports, watching it, loving it, and I still love pro sports, and I do watch a lot of that too. But I'm at heart a college sports fan, basketball and football. And when I got into the hobby, one thing that was surprising about the hobby at call it 2021 was that there were when you're doing all this research and you learn so much about how college jersey cards don't sell nearly as much as pro jersey cards, and for an untrained mind, I thought, oh, well, that's dumb, because I remember Tim Tebow at Florida. I don't remember Tim Tebow in Denver as much. I remember all the guys in college so well, and I was so excited when Bowman U Chrome came out licensed for the first time a couple of years ago, that people are now collecting. That's, to me, that's their true first, right? Before they get to the pros, that's their first card is when they're in that college jersey, and I love it. I love college patches. I collect a lot of really unique, college, bowl game patches and stuff like that, especially if it's a game that I watched, that I was at, or that I remember. And so I love, I have no problem with college kids getting paid at all. And I love the NIL stuff as it kind of spills over to sports cards for sure.
Duke, are you to a point where you can project a future for Graybows and a vision, or are you still in a bit of startup mode trying to figure out what you have on your hands?
That's a great question. And I would say somewhere in between. I would say, we certainly do budgets and forecasts and projections, but as you guys know, like things can often grow faster than you think or slower than you think. And so I'd say we're, being in year 2 here, we're still pretty early. We're ambitious and we have big plans, but we're also trying to enjoy kind of where we're at, because where we're at still fun too. So I would say, in some regards, I think if we really master this Graybows plus parlay concept, I think that's something that could be replicated in other cities. If you told me 10 years from now, we have just the one location, and we're having a fun time doing it, I don't think that's a failure in any regards. I think that because of breaks and online sales, you can grow a lot with just one brick and mortar. If you grow your brand nationally, you can grow through breaks, you can sell a lot through your website and interact with a lot of people. So, I think that's still up in the air. We always say, though, we want to master one thing before we do 2 things, and we have by no means mastered it yet. There's still a lot to learn for sure.
How many times have you heard, wow, I'm going to do one of these one day?
Card shops?
Both. Mix them both. How many times do people say to you, I'm going to do this?
So, I wasn't in the hobby big in the, call it 2010. So I don't know if people were talking about it then. When we did it, we hear a lot more, wow, I can't believe y'all did this. This is a cool concept. Then I hear, there's some other places that have sprouted out across the country, but I still feel, I do feel like it's kind of the wave of the future. But I will tell you this too, like running one business is hard and running 2 is harder. And the rest of the business is very challenging. And I wouldn't tell anybody to get into the restaurant business unless you either A, know what you're doing, or B, you're willing to really work hard and learn and iterate. Because my dad and my granddad both for years told me never get in the restaurant business. They told me that, and they both had some experience in it, and it wasn't great. And you hear of restaurants closing all the time, and being in it, I see why. It's very hard. You have to do everything perfectly to make a thin margin. So, like, I wouldn't do it. If you're trying to be a billionaire, I'm not sure that's the path I would take. If you want to do it because you love it and you are willing to work really hard at it to make it successful, then I would say do it. I think it's a great combination, but it's both businesses are hard to run, right? And focus is everything. And it's easier to focus on one thing than it is 2, for sure.
How much of a concern is wing sauce on an Ohtani card or a valuable piece of merchandise?
We get that question a lot too. Like, you let people have beers in your card shop, and we say, yeah. And like, it hasn't been a problem. It doesn't mean it won't be a problem later. Hasn't happened yet. Once they buy the cards and go to the restaurant, if the wing sauce gets on the show, hey, that's on them. We do have trade nights, right? Crowded room, cards everywhere. We just ask people to be careful, but most people behave and they're not coming into the shop, overly intoxicated often. It's a pretty tame environment over there. But I could, we have strict rules around, like, no drinks on the breaking table and, no drinks on the table if there's cards on it. But for the most part, people police themselves pretty well.
One question we always like to ask card shops, because this is a constant turnover, buying, selling, things come in. What are one of the coolest things that's ever walked in that you guys either didn't buy or you did buy just to see?
Yeah, that's a good question. I will say this: the biggest card ever hit in our card shop happened to be hit by one of our employees on his day off. It was a Saturday. He wasn't working. He came in. Him and his buddies. This is a great story. Him and 2 friends. There was like a half-opened, half-packed-out box of Topps Chrome Baseball, and we knew that the autograph had not been hit yet. So each of them were taking turns opening one pack at a time, and they were rotating. And they knew an auto was coming, didn't know when. And our guy Cole Spain, he hit the LA De La Cruz rookie auto 1/1 superfractor, and he sold it on Golden for $115,000. So that was the most exciting day in our shop, because Cole's a great guy, great team member, and we love him, and we just couldn't be happier for him. Now, his 2 friends that he was with got nothing out of that deal. As many packs as he did, and they weren't as happy for him as we were, for sure.
Well, maybe he bought them a beer.
Probably. I would think.
Yeah.
Well, Duke, we really appreciate you joining us this evening. Before we let you go, tell everybody where they can find Graybos, and both online and when you're in the Virginia area.
Awesome. Yeah, in Richmond, Virginia, we're located in a neighborhood called Scott's Addition, which is a cool little part of Richmond. Online, our website is graybos.co, and the best place to follow us on social media is Instagram. We're on all the socials, but Instagram is our best. And come see us. We break on Fanatics Live and eBay Live as well. So come see us. And guys, I apologize for being late. I really appreciate you having me. Thanks for being patient.
Listen, we appreciate it. We love seeing what it's doing. We're very friendly with Alex Tressler, and he talks nothing but great things about the shop. And we just knew we had to get you on and just to talk a little bit about and share what the uniqueness is. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Alex works for the government. He's been shut down for 3 weeks, so he's been doing marathon breaks for us on Fanatics Live. He's going Wednesday and Thursday. He's going like all day. He has nothing else. So yeah, come see us there. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, Duke. Thanks, man. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Army TC 22 with the shout out. So Greeny went a little long tonight, but when you got great guests and good content, you want to keep it rolling. So our thanks to Duke Dodson, Graybos Sports Cards, Russell Savage from 757 Card Shows. He's got the Virginia Beach Fieldhouse show coming up, and Joe Wismirski with the Hobby News. Our thanks to Haley on the board. As always, thank you to Sports Card Auctions. Thank you to Giannino's Collectibles on SI and Sports Cards Nonsense. Greeny, always a pleasure. We'll do it again next Tuesday, 7 p.m. You got the auction tonight at 9 with Alex. And as always, may the cards forever be in your favor.
Yeah, Alex got some great stuff tonight, 9 o'clock on eBay Live. Make sure you go there, Greeny Sports Cards on eBay. And we hope to see you this Saturday at the TC Greeny Show in Broadview Heights. So have a good night, everybody.